Welcome, everybody. I am excited to have you here, excited about this conversation. This conversation is a conversation that has been building up inside of me for a very long time. And I am tired. I am tired of this message being put out there about people. And because it's not an effective strategy, I understand why it's being taught. I understand why it's being said, and it's tapping into an algorithm that most people want to avoid. And that's why I'm here, is to expose that. And if anybody knows anything about me or has been on any of my other shows, they understand that I am here to talk the truth. And if you want to go look at my last video, it's amazing how many people that video triggered. People are interesting. They're fascinating. I love people. And it's fun learning what triggers people and gets attention, because, friends, understand, if you don't understand how to trigger people, then you are being triggered by other people, right? The most valuable commodity, I'm going to tell you, the most valuable commodity is your attention. It's your attention. Consumer engineering is a real thing, and these people do everything they can to get your attention. And if they get your attention, then they can cause you to suffer, and if you suffer, you consume more. It's called consumer engineering, right? Just understand. There's a guy that just retired, stepped down from the government, and he's a genius at it, and I'm so glad that he did, because we got to get people woke up. We got to get people to understand that your focus is a very valuable commodity. And so what I want to talk about today, and we're just going to keep this a short one today, I'm going to expose the problem of not caring what others think, right? I've heard this so many times, and I'm like, ugh, because it's not possible. It is not possible to not care what other people think. It's not possible, right? We are designed to care what other people think. We're biologically designed to connect with people. Like, when we connect with people, guess what? We release oxytocin within ourselves. We release endorphins. We release serotonin. Like, we are designed to connect with people. And so hearing a message, don't care what other people think, is very ignorant. It's a very ignorant message. Now, I get it. Not questioning their intention, because what they want to do is they want to inspire you into taking action. Got it. Perfect. What I want you to do is understand, what do you value more? What do you value more? Because whatever it is that you value the most is actually what's driving you, right? If you value somebody's opinion of you more than you value yours, there's an opportunity there. Okay. Now, one of the ways that you can do that is to recognize everything that's gone into making who you are, right? Like, think of every single thing that has had to happen in order for you to be here in this time in your life, right? Like, and I'll just put this out there because it's super important to understand this, okay? So 1,000,000 seconds is 12 days. 1,000,000 seconds is 12 days. 1,000,000,000 seconds is 32 years. 32 years, right? So you go from 12 days to 32 years, right? It took billions of years for things to happen the way that it happened, exactly the way it happened, in order for you to be here right now in this moment. I want you to just think about that, right? Like, there's no accidents here, right? And so you understanding the value of the significance of you being an energetic fingerprint in this time, in this world, in this thing called humanity is an extraordinary thing. It's an extraordinary thing, right? Now, I'm not saying that you value, like, fall in love with yourself and not care what anybody, like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying understanding that what people think of you is a reflection of them, not you. It's a reflection of them, not you, right? So the more you understand this, the more you're going to be aware and not take on what other people think. There's a major distinction. There's a major distinction between not caring what somebody thinks and caring what they think, but not allowing it in. Right? Like, all these people that are out there talking about Gary Vaynerchuk's one of them. And Gary's brilliant. Guy is amazing. I love his content. A lot of things, but he's one of them out there. Don't give a damn what anybody thinks. Okay. Well, how would that work, Gary, if every one of your fans just went bye-bye? He would probably change his tune really quick, because he is creating an incongruency with who we are. And when you have an incongruency, it is going to cause us to feel stuck. I'm here to tell you that we want you to be congruent and aligned with your truest, highest self. Okay. So not taking on now, the four agreements. The four agreements talks about this, right? It's one of the rules. The one of the agreements. I love that word, by the way. Agreement is do not take anything personally. Okay. Well, here's another eye-opening concept. Your subconscious mind takes everything personally, right? So understanding that when you are offended or when you are triggered, it is literally something inside of you that is wanting to be transcended, right? So now, and I'm not saying go out there and get offended and all that stuff. This fly, I think this is the longest living fly I've ever met in my life. Like every time I come in here to do a video, this fly shows up. It must love you guys. That I think that's what it is. It keeps coming back for. But understanding that you are who you are and you have a message to share with this world, right? Whatever that is, at whatever level that is, right? And so, and you know what? If everybody could do this, this would mean so much to me. If you guys could share this with your audience, I would really, really appreciate that, because this is so important to talk about this. Because if we don't learn to transcend these limitations that we have, then we are going to be subject to somebody else's agenda, right? The educational system, like I've already got shut down once today on a TikTok live because I was driving in my car, and TikTok is taking it upon themselves to determine what is healthy and what is unhealthy for me. Imagine that. I've been around way longer than TikTok has and done lots of other things. And it's like now they get to parent me on what they believe is safe and unsafe. And friends, understand this is what's happening. This is what's happening, right? If they can control what you perceive, they can control how you feel. If they can control how you feel, they can control how you behave, right? And I really, really, really want all of you to really start doing balanced research, right? Like do research so that stop researching things that align with what it is that you already believe, right? Because if we keep studying what we currently believe, then our beliefs are going to become incestuous, which means they're going to start breaking down their functionality. I think it's interesting, right? Like who knows what's going on here? There are things to keep you away from things that they don't want you to know. Just understand that. Just understand that, my friend. So I wanted to jump on here just real quick and talk about this message of not caring what other people think of you, because it has stopped more people. I mean, it's ignorance. It's just pure ignorance to think as a human being that I'm not to care what somebody else thinks of me, right? And I get it. I get why they're saying it, but understand it. I want you to care more about people. I want you to care more about who you are. I want you to step more into your light. I want you to step more into your power, and for you to have more compassion rather than living your life at a defense, right? Because if you're living at a defense, guess what you're attracting? You're attracting situations into your life that are going to animate the very thing that you're wanting to defend. We attract into our life what we fear. Just being real here, right? So what if you started focusing on caring for people more than what you care about what they think of you? That's mastery. Like that's mastery. Now that doesn't mean you have to endorse it. Doesn't mean you have to justify it. Doesn't mean that you have to enable it, right? Understand there's people that show up in ways that make life a little bit more challenging and give us the opportunity to extend more grace than other people do, right? But that's our opportunity. This is our opportunity, right? So because friends, I'm going to share with you one of the biggest things that stop. Oh my gosh, now I got private dancing girls over here. Let me see. Boy, oh boy. It's amazing. See, isn't it interesting? That right there, I find super, super interesting. Here I've got some person sending me stuff about girls 18 years old. Isn't that interesting? They will allow that, but you can't put truth out there. Isn't that interesting? Right? Like I just saw a TikTok from a friend of mine, one of the people that I follow, and she's a huge advocate for children that have been raised in a narcissistic home. And she's talking about this guy that's saying she can come and stay with me, as he's doing a picture of this older guy that's taking pictures of himself in the shower, putting up a message saying, I will take care of her. But yet they can allow this to happen. They can allow that to happen. And yet they have fact checkers saying all the time that you can't allow certain things to be put out there. I would really encourage all of you, if you guys are interested in knowing what the truth really is, one is go join the challenge that's in my my bio, the ROI Accelerator Challenge. I'm going to teach you influence on a level that is like extraordinary, right? Because if you don't understand influence, it is being used on you, my friend. Whether you know it or not, right? Effective seduction is not recognized, right? And so what my mission is to get people to really understand propaganda, really get people to understand how people are fighting for your attention. And your attention is your life force. Your life force. What are you giving your focus to? Because whatever you give your focus to over time, you become subject to whatever it is that you give your focus to. So I'm here to get you to invest in your greatest ROI, which is you, right? The more you invest in what it is that you want to create, and out of doing that, you're going to attract things into your life that's going to support you so that you can manifest that, right? Like the thing that separates me from me and every other coach and transformational specialist and motivational speaker and all that stuff out there is the results my clients get. Like I am a massive needle mover. I show people how to triple, quadruple, 10x their businesses, right? Because once you get the things out of the way that keep you playing small, you catapult into your fullest potential, right? And so I've had lots of clients that have had this thing about being afraid of the things of what other people think about them. So you have to name the fear. You can't just pretend that you don't have the fear, right? So when you start looking at what is it that I'm afraid of what other people think of me? Well, because you might have had an experience as a child that has taught you that when you do a particular thing, that doing that particular thing is going to create humiliation for you, right? And that's where, like, I've had many of those experiences, right? Like when I was in kindergarten, my teacher asked me to pronounce the letter A. I was the first one to go, didn't really understand the question, and I said apple. The entire class laughed at me. The entire class laughed at me. How do you think that impacted me from raising my hand and answering questions from that point forward? Caused lots of things within myself, right? And so how does that impact us when we want to put a message out there and really share what it is that we are doing? It impacts it massively, right? See, we're not running from what we're thinking about or fearing in the future. We're actually running from experiences that we've had in the past that's in our cell memory, right? This is what we're running from. And when we have this thing inside of us, what we end up doing is we end up projecting it. So it's proception, not perception. It is proception. So why do you think that's why people have a fear of speaking? The reason people have a fear of public speaking isn't what most people think it is. The reason people have a fear of public speaking, there's two reasons. Actually, there's more, but these are the two big ones. First one is that people are afraid that they are going to think about them the way they think about themselves, right? So when I'm teaching my students on doing videos, every time, the thing that they're afraid of when they're doing video is that people are going to think of them what they think of themselves on the video, because they become highly critical when they see themselves in the video, right? And then guess what? That's what they attract in their lives, right? The other thing is they're afraid of being humiliated, right? And see, this is one of the things about social media. When you're on social media, just like right now, like I just had a bunch of adult stuff thrown at me. Like I've had people come up here and say, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Mr. Clean, and all these comments about being bald and stuff like that. This is the opportunity to focus on what is it? Where am I giving my focus? Because friends, understand, darkness is real. If you don't think darkness is real, I would encourage you to challenge that thought, right? Because when we understand that darkness is real, there's going to be strategies to impact us, to distract us from getting off of what we're focused on. Because if we're focused on light and putting things out there, am I a Jordan Peterson guy? I like Jordan Peterson for sure, right? He speaks truth. He puts great things out there. He challenges the status quo, right? You're so cute, Baldo. I appreciate that. Yeah, and so it's understanding that there are agendas. There are agendas to keep you distracted, because if you're distracted, you're not focused, And if you're not focused, you are confused. And when you are confused, you are highly suggestible. Okay. And when we are confused, like this is what causes relationships to break down. What causes relationships to break down? I'm going to give you the secret pill. Okay. You know what? I need to do that. I need to go get me a red pill and a blue pill. Okay. I need some props, right? I'm going to give you the secret of what's real can't be. Ooh, I like that. Macon, you are so amazing. Some of the words you say. So he says, what's real can't be threatened. What's unreal doesn't exist. Ah, I know where you got that. That is called a course. Yes, I love it. Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me that. This is nonsense. Just like Peterson, there is no secret pill. You're not a red pill. I didn't say I was a red pill, man. I didn't say I was a red pill, but I appreciate you sharing your opinion. Yeah, and it's interesting. You think Peterson is nonsense. That's your perception. You're entitled to have that, right? That's a wonderful thing called about agenda is you can be hypnotized by whatever you want to be hypnotized, whether you recognize that you are hypnotized or not. So bless you, brother. I appreciate it, or woman, whoever you are. Because see, understand, just like with this comment there, that is a reflection of you. That is not a reflection of Jordan Peterson. That's a reflection of you. Right? Judgment is a reflection of the judger, not the judged, right? And so it's important to understand that when somebody is projecting something onto you, like this person is, that is a reflection of him, not me, right? Like that he has no idea who I am, hasn't spent any time with me at all, right? But yet he comes on here and says what he says. He doesn't even know who Jordan Peterson is as a person, just what people have put out there about him, right? Jordan's a master at linguistics. Like I love how he communicates about things. And yes, there's some things that he says that I don't agree with, but I align with his mission for sure. Right. And see, that's the very thing is people will take a little piece of content and not understand there's a context of what's going on. And they'll make a judgment call about that little piece of content and pretend that they know what they're actually talking about. That's called willful ignorance. It's called willful ignorance. Right. And so, yes, it is Macon. Yes, you bet, brother. Good stuff too, by the way. So yeah, and this is the thing that stops. Like I've studied with the masters of NLP and hypnosis and stuff like that. And the only reason I'm saying that is to validate some of the things that I'm about to share with you. The two biggest mistakes that you can ever make is to say, I know, and I disagree. Because as soon as you say that and think you know what it is, you have just shut down discovery. Right. And see, a lot of people do this because they're afraid of being wrong. Right. Now, this gets into public speaking again. Right. What is people's biggest fear? I'm going to share with you what people's biggest fear is. People's biggest fear is being separated from their tribe. And being separated from the tribe can also include being separated from the beliefs that you are installed in you as a child. Okay. It's not what to think or what to believe. It's how to believe. Right? Because if I challenge a belief that has been in my family for generations, and I know that if I challenge that, that's going to cause separation from my family, I'm going to have to figure out what I really value. Right? And that's fine. You don't have to agree with that. I don't encourage you to believe anything I say. I would encourage you to play it out, and I would encourage you to go investigate it, right? Because the other thing is somebody to disagree with me, and this isn't about me, it's about a conversation. If somebody says, I disagree with you, again, they are taking a little bit of information and they are interpreting it. They're not disagreeing with me, they're disagreeing with how they interpret what I said, right? They are saying, I know this based on how they interpreted what I said. Right. So it's understanding that and being able to also hold space for the discussion of it not meeting the way you want it to meet, which is a massive breakdown. Because see, when we have lack of clarity in a conversation, and Jordan Peterson is a master at this, right? That's one thing I super appreciate about him is his linguistic skills are off the charts, right? But if we don't have clear communication, what ends up happening is we literally will have confusion. And that's where the breakdown starts happening. But in the confusion, guess what fills that in? It's our wounding inside of us that fills in those gaps. That's what interprets all the breakdowns. And then that's when you get people pissed off. And that's when emotions go through the roof. And that's when everybody says, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore, because their feelings are hurt. Right? But they didn't understand how it all got created. They don't understand how it got created. Life doesn't happen to us. Life doesn't happen for us. It happens through us, right? So the more we can take responsibility for understanding that we are creating the experience of whatever it is that we are, excuse me, whatever we are experiencing, the more we can step into our greatness and make some things happen, right? But what you're saying, it can only be one way. What do you mean by that? What do you mean it can only be one way? No, what I say is about endless possibility, right? And creating the dialogue of discovery, right? And because if somebody says I agree with you, okay, or not that I agree with you, because there's a whole conversation around that too. Is if I disagree with you, that's one way. I'm coming across that way. Okay, expand on that. I'm coming across as one way. My one way is choice. Like I want to give people choice. I want to give people power and understand that their perception is not reality, right? Your perception is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. It's a reflection of all your programming inside of you, right? It's not one way, not even close. So whatever you're experiencing, please help me understand what it is that you're experiencing. It doesn't seem that. What doesn't seem that way? But see, again, understanding what you are interpreting me saying is a reflection of you. It's not, it's how you're interpreting this information. Right. And I get it. Like what you're saying is, it's landing however it's landing for you. I have no control over how it's landing for you, but I'm asking, you say it has to be from childhood. The interpretation is from childhood. 75% of what we know and access through our entire life was by the age of 5. Absolutely. That's neuroscientists. I'm not letting you respond. How am I not letting you respond? Okay. What is it that you're not understanding? So, yeah. And whatever it is, like, I'd be happy to talk to you about it, but it's understanding I'm all about choice. I'm about getting people to stand in there's more resourceful states. I'm sorry, but this is hilarious, right? Is to get people to understand and step into high resourceful states, right? You go to a grocery store hungry, your perception is going to be in survival mode. When you are in survival mode, you're going to make choices that are out of desperation, not inspiration, right? And so it's understanding that however this is landing for you, and it's just like this, okay? It's not people that fight, it's levels of understanding that fight. Let me get case in point. Somebody that is insecure is always going to see a confident person as arrogant. Okay. I don't know what that means. I work with Mass and Kip, and I don't even know who those people are. Right. And I don't know what's important about that. So, but it's understanding that we have to make sense of our own perception. Right. And the way we're going to do that is make the other person, I'm coming across as defensive. Interesting. Okay. Tell me how. How and what is it that makes you feel that? Like I'm curious. You got my attention. You got my attention. Right? Just because I'm not agreeing with you, I'm coming off as a defensive. I love discovery conversations. Love it. I don't appreciate making assumptions about what I'm saying, but I get it. You've got to do what you got to do. So just understand that our perception is not reality. There's a fact, and then there's our interpretation of the fact, right? And our interpretation is all from the programmings that we have within ourselves. And see, this is absolutely perfect. This is absolutely perfect for you can't tell me my experience of you. No, I can't. You're absolutely right. This is absolutely poignant to the conversation that I'm talking about, which is exposing the problem and not caring what other people think. This is exactly my case in point, right? Like this person is saying the things that they're saying, and I wanted to have a conversation with them, and I get it. We're talking about he's using, or he, whoever, I don't know if it's he or she, is using a device that is only allowing 7% of the communication, right? Words are only 7% of communication, right? Which is why I'd recommend, if you're having a heated conversation with somebody, do not do it over text, because it leaves 93% open for interpretation. Okay. So I don't know. I'm defensive. Okay. Well, be blessed, man. If you feel I'm defensive, I don't want you to feel like I'm being defensive. You're more than welcome to leave. I have no problem with that. So, but it's understanding that how do you hold space? How do you hold space when the conversation is not going the way you want it to go? Right. And again, it's all about trusting yourself and who you are, right, and being able to hold that space and stand into, because we're thoughts, we're not our awareness, we're not our emotions, we are our awareness, right? And so it's really important for you to be able to know what is your truth, what is your truth, and being able to know what it is that you know, and be okay with what it is that you don't know. Like, there's tons of stuff I don't know, and I'm excited about that because there's lots of things that I've learned, and there's lots of opportunities that I get to learn more and more stuff, and I love opportunities like this. Sammy, welcome. If Yeah, this guy is funny. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Okay, I'll just ask you one question. What word did I put in your mouth? What word did I put in your mouth? I'm curious to hear that. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to shut this down. I have just put, so case in point. Okay. Being able to hold space for what it is that you want to focus on and being able to hold true to that. Right. And being able to be true in your own power and understand what is your intention. Your intention is the most important thing of all of this, right? If you're not clear on what your intentions are, you are going to be susceptible and you're going to be vulnerable to somebody else pointing out what they believe it is. Okay. So it's not about not caring what people think. It's not about that. It's about understanding that everybody has their own model of the world, and whatever that they're coming up with is their internal world. It's not who you are, right? So don't let these hold you back from stepping in your greatness, because your greatness wants to be shared with the world. Okay. Your greatness wants to be shared with the world. And there's people out there that really, really want to have what it is that you get to share with the world that only you can share in the way that you share it. So I appreciate everybody being here. As always, live like your life depends on it, because it does. And if you haven't signed up for the ROI Accelerator Challenge, highly, highly recommend it. Like, there's amazing, amazing things happening over there. And there is, incredible miracles happening. And I just so appreciate everybody being there. TikTok, stick around. I'm gonna talk with this guy for a little bit, but appreciate everybody. Have a great night. I appreciate you.